My bad, bitch. I'm pretty than a motherfucker. Hoes be looking okay. Yeah, she fucking with me. Is this bitch okay? He said he ain't fucking around. I look at him like, okay. I used to be down bad, but now a bitch okay. I'm pretty than a motherfucker. Hoes be looking okay. She see that she fucking with me. Is this bitch okay? He said he ain't fucking around. I look at him like, okay. I used to be down bad, but now a bitch okay.
Summer 24, single as a dollar bill. Handsome and wealthy, can't forget the fact a nigga real. Why you got choppers in the house? Cause I'm a nigga still. A bitch that never kept me slipping. Yeah, banana peel. Never lost the real when you talk the ball, baby. Young and Jalen Brown, yeah, I'm about to ball, baby. I was chilling in the grill when Coach made the call. You taking off this summer? I said, nigga, no. All I'm hearing about is Drizzy, Drake, and K-Dot. Been on 5, 20 years, bitch, I stay high. Fuck you nigga playing with, bitch, I be the feds. Millionaire back in. That I was over, I'm like, okay. Mama looking down on the boy, she like, go Jay. Used to have a plug in Mexico, his name was Jose. Brought that white walk across the border like a Moj.
I'm pretty than a motherfucker.
Hey, everybody. Hey. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good morning, whatever you want to call it. I hope you all are doing well. You know, peace to the nation. You know, people take offense to. Never mind. Peace to the nation. Peace to all y'all beautiful black people. I hope y'all doing well. I said it already. I hope y'all are doing well. Um, it's came to bring a little bit of afternoon cheer. I was just thinking, once you think 3 times a day, deeply preferentially. Uh, I'm coming on camera. Just give me a moment. I getting myself together. Yeah, and I guess that'll give folks a little time. If they choose to tap in, maybe they might peek in and peek out. Just see what he doing. I don't know how that shit. Well, I mean, I know how I do it. I might see folks talking. I peek in and I'll look and listen for a couple seconds. Then I bounce out. Maybe click like or something. You know, uh, because even if you don't necessarily I mean, I guess even agree with somebody, what a person is saying, and that's your people, you know, it don't hurt nothing, even just make even the comments is important. I mean, you say you disagree, if that's your folks, you know how your folks gonna react to you disagreeing on that shit. Uh, I don't know, but yeah, hope everybody's Friday going good. And did I say I was just thinking? One should think of these 3 times a day, deeply preferentially. I say this over and over again. Because it seems to me that there seems to be a lack of the capacity to deeply think. To take facts and information and somehow, piece them things together without the benefit of being hyper emotional. Lean more on your education. Lean more on the wisdom of the elders. We talk about we're not our ancestors. No, I mean, I tend to like to believe that hopefully that I'll push forward and somewhat. You can't live the same lifestyle as your ancestors because we live in a different type of world now. But is that for better or for worse? That's a question to be considered. But we have disagreements. Not to jump from here to there, but it's on certain things we have disagreements with each other. And the reason that we may disagree with people about certain things, it may have a lot of times has has to do with our social conditioning, our background, um, the information and uh, the experiences in which we might have encountered at some time. Now, this you see the title of this, you see the thumbnail. This is going to be a political conversation. Uh, now, I keep on saying I apologize, but that's just my habit. I may say it a few more times. If you are my friend on Facebook, because I'm broadcasting this to my YouTube and to the Real Beauty of Black Relationships page. That's my platform. But you also have my personal profile page, which is if you know, if you know. Uh, as far as my personal profile page, you get me because before I started doing this, I did this a little bit, and I did this in the name of politics. If you go back and on my personal profile, you might see some videos where I was talking about politics, and I think a lot of times either I was talking about Bro Obama. I call Barack Obama Bro Obama because I consider him my bro. And then he's talking about there was a situation where I was talking about the adequacy of Hillary Clinton because contrary to a large majority of black people in America, uh, I fell out of love with the Democratic Party. I mean, I really kind of question at this point, how I could even fall in love with them in the first place. You would think that they were the ones who pushed the Civil Rights Act. Where little white boys, the little black girls, the little white girls, and little black boys could hold hands and eat at lunch counters that are owned by people that not necessarily uh, black men and black women. But yeah, so if you've been on my personal profile, y'all know how I get down because I've been through the process. A lot of what happened with my profile is that when Barack Obama was running for president, because I had stopped, I think the last time I voted was probably during the Al Gore and the George Bush election, because they made that seem like that was supposed to have been some type of drastic fight. But it's always a fight for democracy and the right to live free and the pursuit of happiness. That was the last. That was the before I voted for Bro Obama, my bro. Uh, that was the last time I didn't vote for the reelection when Bush got reelected because at that point it was like, well, shoot, I was more concerned about you know either doing my little dirt or you will get at the sum total of I was more concerned about getting money and tending to my personal lusts per se. So yeah, so my page as I evolved and I readily and willingly so some people will say devolve those people that are still dedicated and still believe in the two-party political system because we can talk about I'm independent I'm and I you know I have an independent political mindset. People say that they don't vote for this party, they don't vote for this party, the franchise parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, because they're disenchanted with them. But they say they're independent, but then they say they pick a candidate, like, we could say Robert Kennedy, and they say they're going to put their energy behind Robert Kennedy, and then you may have those people from those franchise political parties that say, well, you're throwing away your vote, you're just wasting your vote. But I thought your vote was supposed to be an expression of what you believe in, of what principles and policies you support. You know, a lot of times it seems that these things have become more of a popularity contest. I know that for a large part, when you think about it in hindsight, Barack Obama's presidency was a popularity contest because the things, he gonna legalize weed, he gonna he gonna do the reparations and just that, man. Uh, mm. I mean, it was a good game. I think because I'm attempting to have a higher level conversation here. There was a speech that he had given. They call it Barack Obama's famous race speech. Now you can look this up. That speech kind of won me over. Now, probably in hindsight, after years of experience, and once again, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, I might look at that speech differently. Especially after his 2 terms of presidency. But that's what won me. That kind of what won me over to okay, I'm going to go vote this time. I'm going to make sure I'm registered. This change we can believe in. Open change, open change. And then when you know, he was successful, and they say that he was pretty much one of the first presidential candidates that had the benefit of the cyber world in order to make sure that he cinched his presidency. I I live in the city suburbs, so you might get cars. I personally, at that time, I wasn't really. I mean, I was online, but at the level where now it's these social media platforms like the Twitters, the Instagrams, and the Facebooks and YouTubes. Uh, they have more of considered past performances and past effects on certain social situations and events. Social media has shown the effectiveness of its impact. Social media showed its effectiveness of its impact in the presidential election of 2016. Now, Hillary was a darling for I guess for the mainstream media, and also for I guess for those who consider themselves Democrats, because due to the fact that she was I guess just the president's wife might be diminishing her capacity, but hey, whatever. Uh, she was just the president's ex-wife, well, the ex-president's wife. Pardon me. But then she attempted to run for well, first of all, she was running. I think she ran. She did run when Obama was running, and she lost. And she said a few things during the time in which she was running for president, and those were some of the things I was saying um, to to those people that consider her the darling. Hillary Clinton going to do the woman president. Now, what I learned, I mean, it could have been a black woman. Black, we had the black male, the blackish male, and if I had the knowledge and the wisdom and understanding I had at the time, I would have said, well, shoot, this man's father is from continental Africa, while his mother, whom he was raised by, and his grandmother, they wasn't calling to nigger folk. They were more, you know, how do I say this? I mean, I guess maybe she may not be. Maybe his granny may not have been, and then the grandpappy, because he don't say too much. You see, talk about the grandmammy, but he don't talk too much. He ain't talk too much about his grandpappy. Uh, Maybe she was more liberal, and they had to accept the fact that their daughter, was having unprotected sex out of wedlock to the point she had a child, and that was Barack Obama, right? So yeah, how I do this? Let me get this right. Yeah, there I go. Now I put these glasses on, man, because I've been puffing, and I don't want to take away the seriousness of what I'm about to talk about here. Uh, doing well, Hillary and Obama, that shit right there, she had to bow down because he was the crowd favorite because he's 90% of the black vote, of course. Hillary, you ain't got that. It's gonna sit down. So she lost that time, but then she ran against Mean Massa. Now, for editorial purposes, I will be identifying Donald Trump as Mean Massa and Joseph Biden as Kind Massa. Uh, and not necessarily because in my mind I consider them exceptionally mean or exceptionally kind. Of course not in the case of kind masters, but kind. There was an election. The Trump beat Hillary. Of course, you could kind of see that happen. I mean, she did it. It was a nice fight. And they'll say, well, she won the popular vote. The Electoral College, it holds it all. That's why when y'all said, if you don't vote, you ain't got the right to say nothing. You casting your vote at that particular time is probably the loudest your voice is going to be during the whole election season. And even with your voice being that loud, at the end of the day, someone else will still be choosing your leader, and that person, the people that choose your leader, more than likely will have that leader by their puppet strings. So people who say, "Well, um, we're going with Trump this time," not Trump. Now, matter of fact, I got this right here. Let me do this. Job I have now, and as the jobs is for the job is for a man who don't know how to fish. And that's things, but I mean, that a man don't work, he don't eat. But the job I have right now, I started it January 2017. So that date would have to be after November 2016. That was when Trump was first getting in office. Now this job here, it pay. I said, damn, they paying this from coming in here. That's cool. So at that point, it was like, okay, this is a underneath Obama. First, we started off with the unemployment because what happened to me was I had two jobs. Well, I had two jobs. Okay, I was a professional painter, and I also worked like at a hotel, doing some stuff at the hotel. The hotel was just like you know, because most of my money was gained through painting shit. Um, when he got elected, and the banks did the bailouts and all that type of stuff, and the housing market crashed. I'm here to tell you, as a painter, when I started out doing my painting, and I had, my guy cut, quality his first painting. I was his apprentice. He taught me everything I needed to know. And most of the time, a lot of the houses that we were going to were either black folks buying new shit, black folks that did either refinance and put money into their shit, uh, and that's aside from the residential, and that's residential I'm talking about. Aside from the commercial and the retail payment we did, we talking about like, because a lot of times in the competitive market that it was already, people tend to yield to lean toward their kind. Not saying that we didn't have a lot of white clients that we painted for, but this was booming business. I mean, aside from now, I was making some of the most money I ever made uh working. I mean working legit now. The little fuck it, I already got it. The little weed peddling and all that little shit I was doing, the other little hustling I was doing did not compare to that because for one thing, when you get that easy money, you party it away. And number two, it's a lot of stress when you go about getting it that way. So when the housing market crashed, uh and I lived in Nashville, Tennessee for like 20 something years. Because I went to Fisk, I went to school down there. Now, being the and I can't call my pappy my mammy slave master, but uh, being free from the strict household in which I lived in, when I left my parents' home and I got down to Tennessee, I kicked it. Ooh. And let me just bring this back to where I need to go. But I kicked it. But And I made my little mistakes or whatever, and then I went through long periods of time while I was making my mistakes, hustling and fuck a job, whatever, because I want to be like Daddy, but Daddy was a better hustler, was a far better hustler than me. Uh, During that time period, I was working independently, doing the painting and this, that, and the third. Then the housing market crashed, and then I was on because one thing that they talk about, well, they just want Trump in because he had the stimulus and the unemployment. People seem to have forgotten that when the housing market crashed and everybody was getting unemployed, there weren't enhanced employment benefits. There were extended employment benefits. Now you would get that little piece of money they give you in comparison to what you was making from unemployment. But also to his credit, he also increased the amount of food stamps that a single man could get, or I guess for families also. But I lost my job. I lost, so in losing my job and and the housing market crashed and people going, whoever still was in the game, they was going to those folks who may or may not have green cards and may or may not speak English and may or may not give the illusion that they actually work harder than anybody else. I'll just never well for this story work harder than the black person, because this is. And even during that time period back then, they was because of Obama put out more immigrants than anybody at that particular time. Uh, Basically, I had to leave Nashville. I lost the bulk of all my possessions, my life possessions, because I couldn't carry it where I was going. Um, because the market crashed and unemployment came, and folks didn't have no money. And the bankers, they had plenty of money, because they bailed out the bankers, all that type of stuff. But this is our black president, Democratic Party. I rode with Obama. I used to debate heavily with them folks during the Trayvon Martin murder trial. If I had a son, probably look like Trayvon. Man, we want you to stand in the paint, Barry. Uh, the fake situation where Gates had the police that came to Gates' house that bought upon the beer summit where they drank a beer on open. These Now those were like things you kind of gave the side eye at. Uh, and then they asked him, well, what's your question about reparations? He gave the education shit. Let me tell you about the education shit. They say, well, reparations, if they just give the nigga folks education, then that's like reparations. Education is something that should be a right, a human right. Whatever you want to learn about, whatever you have an interest in, whatever you want to seek and pursue to gain more uh, education about, then that should be readily accessible. That should be nothing. That should be considered something that's reparative. The fact that there may be a lack of education among some of us may be considered due to the fact to the generational lingerings and residue of chattel slavery, Jim Crow, uh, whatever levels of anti-black racism that might have occurred in America. Those are residuals of that, so that's when they talk about, it's racism is no longer a problem in America. It's all about capitalism versus the haves and the have-not. Somehow they seem to forget that the capitalistic system in America was primarily and predominantly built upon those by the disenfranchised, uh, most specifically those who were considered uh, niggers. The African, well, not even, well, you got African folks came over from Africa. But I still argue. I argue based off the evidence I've seen, and because I have the right to do that. Because now one of us in this time was back there when the uh, the thieves and the rapists and the murderers were kicked out of Europe by the Queen to come over and settle America. None of us was back then. So let me get back. Let me circle back. Uh, the a few things Obama, of course, the Blue Lives Matter protection and all that type of stuff, and it seemed like he was just too limp wristed, too flimsy wristed for me. He wasn't a strong black man, and I guess that might be part of the fact that he was raised by them people, and he didn't know his African daddy so much. But people love Obama, even though you can't really black people with their 90% plus voting, they can't point out anything of tangible and substantial lingering value. We gave the man 8 years. I mean, y'all gave him 8 years. I gave him 4 because I ain't vote for him the second time. But y'all don't have none. All y'all have is some little pic. Maybe some of y'all might have a picture of Obama with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X in it, as a collage. Let me get on. Let me move forward. But after, because this was my break with the Democratic Party. After the murder, the assassination of Muammar Gaddafi, and true, or whether it be true or false, but based on the evidence, that's what he was doing. Muammar Gaddafi was trying to was what he was. It wasn't about trying. He was attempting to for lack of better term, make a better society for himself and whoever his people or whomever might be interested in living in a better society. But what happened there is that there seemed to be some sketchy shit, and at the time, Gaddafi was saying that it's the Taliban fucking with me, and America was like, "No, it ain't the Taliban. That's you trying to kill your own people." Now that's generally what them people say. Whoever in office, they're gonna say he was trying to kill his own. He's killing his own kind. He was going against democracy. That's how they get in there and get it. So Gaddafi get killed. Hillary Clinton says, "We came, we saw, he died." Hillary Clinton fucks around, and tries to run against president. Now, if if the way Obama did Gaddafi, and the way Obama was just feckless on all the niggas that's we getting killed and all that type of stuff, I didn't vote for him. So for her to do what she did, and also for the fact that she called the black folks super predators, this, that, and the third, bring in Khan Massabad. Khan Massabad was, I mean, from my opinion and from my perspective, he was more of a handler. He was a handler for Obama, because they knew after this windfall of cash that went upwards to the bankers and whomever else, and also to the real estate folks, they had to give something, give the people something. And even if and this was for the white folks and the racist black. I mean, this is for the black folks and maybe perceivable anti-black white folks. They needed Obama in order to talk about how the country's going to shit. But the African American, the black, the Negro, the people of color, whomever, the nigger folks like myself, unfortunately, we needed somebody to look as if this country has changed. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. I know I kid you no more. We gonna be all right. You nigga rapping like you trying to preach like we gonna be all right. Now, so yeah, we get to Trump versus Hillary. Hillary loses. Trump comes in. The first three. See, like I said, I started my job I work at now in 2017 January. From that job, and this just like y'all say, the inflation and all the other shit, gas prices don't have to do with the president. Now, what I did don't necessarily have nothing to do with the president, but it may very well have to do with the economy in which he put in place in order for whatever was going on to go on. I got that job. I didn't have I wouldn't have bad credit. I had zero credit. I built up, I activated my credit. I bought my first car off the lot. Most time I buy cars from next year. But I bought my first car off the lot. Um, Established my credit score. Moved up in my little job. You know, Corona came. Since I was employed, I had the benefit of the enhanced unemployment and this, that, and the third. I didn't do them PPP loans. Now some of them folks at my job did the fake PPP loans. I don't, they ain't came picked up none of them folks yet, so I don't know about that. But in my mind and from my perspective, this is just my opinion. Now, some of y'all say that Trump started the Corona and the way he did Corona, he brought Corona on people, and that's why y'all don't fuck with him. Now, in the first 3 years or whatever, I was cool. I was super cool. Now, when the global pandemic hit, of course things got twisted. But still, it wasn't. I still was able to eat. I still was able to buy. Still, I wasn't able to be around a whole bunch of people. Not that I be around a whole bunch of people. But even though the world had changed for that time period, and it's still lingering changes after that. But I was fine. I wasn't broke. I wasn't struggling. I wanted to buy a little random drink. Go on Amazon. Some of y'all niggas had enough money to give. Because once upon a time when the content that was the content creator gold rush. So it's like you could just tap on and get to talking. Folks is throwing you super chats and cash apps and buying merch and stuff because they was just sitting on money bored, falling in love whoever came online they talked to. But that's another topic. So now, people got mad at Trump. They said blue no matter who. We got to get him out of here. He's ruining the country. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad. Soon as dude got in, the people they said that if you don't vote for him, you're not black. He said, "Fuck y'all. Y'all gonna have to learn how to work with Hispanics." And years later, of course, it's Hispanics. Well, I don't know if Venezuela can be counted as Hispanics, but regardless, there are Hispanics coming over here now. They looking for work. The work you barely can find work yourself. So the work they coming for is more than likely the work that you had or the work you may be trying to get. Now, this is just me living in a sanctuary city and what I see. Y'all may have varying views because a lot of y'all go off feelings and not based off any evidence of fact. But uh, open borders has harmed major metropolitan cities. Uh, so now Trump is going against Biden, and this is the first election. Um, we got to get Trump out. Trump is racist. Trump is this and that. I'm like, so okay. Now, mind you, what they talk about now. We gonna vote the couch. I dig. Now, side note, I dig what y'all saying. What we gonna vote the man, but couch, vote the couch. I mean, you just going to see, and people can play that like y'all. So y'all just gonna sit on your ass. Basically, that's what y'all saying. Y'all just gonna sit on the couch. The world, the Rome is burning. We don't know who the fuck Nero is playing the violin, but Rome is burning. But you're gonna play the couch. You don't have any right. Your ancestors died. How dare you? You disrespect your ancestor died. So you could participate in democracy of voting for folks. Okay, all right. I have that right. I have that privilege, and so that means I have the choice to do that. Now, in that choice, give me something to choose. In 26, well, 2020, I kept asking, what do y'all, what are we getting out of this? I'm telling y'all, this is the architect of the crime bill. This is the architect of, when they say, when Trump did like I say, you don't give a fuck about either party. When Trump did the second step back, or on the first step back or whatever, where you where they were freeing all the folks who had the convictions for the cocaine or whatever, and the crack disparity. Joe Biden was instrumental in fomenting and creating that disparity underneath Ronald Reagan. Whereas somebody had power, they get 5 years. Somebody got crack, they get 20. So it was people getting freed underneath the Trump administration for doing this. Now, not to say that that's something because he did that for black people. All black people ain't convicts. I don't understand what opportunities I don't know all that stuff because like I say, man, I don't have any faith in the system anymore. After in my mind, after was we go from when the Civil Rights Act passed, it was like 64, 75, 85, 95, 2005, 2020, no, 2015, 2025. That's about 60 years. 60 years of benign neglect from the Democrat. How is it? And I had to have this talk with myself. How has the Democratic Party constructively and tangibly benefited the Black American person? But yeah, kind Master Biden and me and Master Trump had a debate last night, and what a time was had. What a time! I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it. I saw a little bit. Um, when they asked him about the disenchantment, how asked Biden how he felt about the disenchantment of black voters for him, and I think they asked Trump something about it relative to black voters. First they asked Kind Master Biden, how you feel about black folks don't feel like you done shit. They've done a lot for black folks. The, the, the child care, man. What are you talking about, G? What are you talking? This is a man who is giving away billions of dollars in an When I say altruism is when folks may have an interest or pretty much a finance interest, a duty or a mission to be generous and frivolous to other people outside themselves, their community or their people. You have this man, he come in and tell you, if you don't vote for me and I'm black, you got to learn to work with Hispanics. You want the rest of your stimulus check because really, you want the rest of that stimulus, you make sure you vote for Raphael Warnock. And Raphael Warnock got you. Now, mind you, during the election, they were trying to avoid giving out the stimulus because we're gonna talk about the stimulus a little bit because that's tends to be a bone of contention or a topic. But we was getting that money. Yeah, of course I had to enhance unemployment benefits, so they looked out and whatever. That didn't move me, but I appreciate it. But so during that time period, we living pretty. I would think we living now. We were scared. A lot of y'all was scared. A lot of y'all because I still people walking around with the mask on. I'm like, and I mean, I guess fine because my mama probably still wear her mask too. But the utilization of that, because you look at these past 4 years, and you look at the 4 years before that, is your lifestyle that you live. Yes, I mean, I was like, yeah, my live much better. It is a lifestyle you live easier to live than it was 4 years ago. President ain't got nothing to do with the inflation. This president, when he declared, well, I guess he did proxy war with Ukraine and Russia, where we ain't U.S. soldiers down there. We just gonna be Ukrainians versus the Russians. We gonna get them billions and billions of dollars of weapons, and we're not giving them money as weapons. Motherfucker, come on. They playing your face. They playing y'all face. And it's another thing. And I'm jumping around a little bit because one of his selling points for you all was uh, student loan forgiveness. Now, uh, this is something that black people, yeah, student loan forgiveness. Black folks, once again, just like the folks who everybody ain't went to jail, everybody ain't got a bunch of kids they need to have child care for, everybody ain't go to college. So whatever stipulations and things like that you were able to get student loan forgiveness, whether you work for the public, one thing what they said was you had to be a public servant, something like that. Yeah, whatever you did to get that, that's on you. I mean, just congratulations for you, but that don't necessarily help the common person at all. So during 2020 election, people were scared and, Trump is a racist, this, that, and the third. Man, I don't understand why it's so easy for y'all to see the alleged racism or the substantiated racism in Donald Trump, but y'all have a blind eye for Kyle Master. Just cause Kyle Master is a senile doddering, uh, weird old former freaks, hair sniffing. See, if I wrote this stuff on Facebook, Instagram, they'll say this looks like a problem they're reported for. It's bullying. Just cause y'all voted for this moron. And I think the man's a moron. I think last night, the little clips I saw, and then I looked and I saw these people like bro, I don't care what it is. I ain't dare vote for Trump, but you gonna vote for this nigga? This nigga done fucked up the world. Believe me, in my mind, he fucked up America. I mean, damn. He ain't got nothing to do with the gas price. There's something, and I said, there's something called the petrodollar. Now think about this. Russia has become, more favorable to China, more favorable to Saudi Arabia, more favorable to Iran and Iraq. These are oil producing countries. Now, America produces a certain share of oil, but up to this point, America had been working with what is called a petrodollar, like much like the American dollar. It's not necessarily based on any gold reserves, or anything like this. It's based on legal tender, a promise. So now, what's going on is that um, since America wants to, did her here with these people and did it here with those people, uh, people are forming coalitions per se. Uh, a lot of the grain and stuff, from my understanding, if I remember correctly, a lot of the grain is produced over in Russia and certain things like that, whatever. And so when the president decided to put sanctions against Russia, that also increased the price because when you put sanctions on folks, of course they're going to have some type of retaliatory thing they're going to do. So what they ended up doing is, I mean, the price they raised since they gonna make it since we got to pay something to deal with y'all. Y'all gonna have to pay something to deal with us. So then you got the price of grain going up. Grain is, used, of course, used to make bread. They even the jailhouse folk, they give them bread and water in the worst condition. I saw a comment about last night's election. Um, I heard they talking about black jobs. What exactly is a black job? See, it's this type of intellectual dishonesty that fucks that really just irks me about it. And I'm like I said, I'm not a trumper. I'm definitely not a kind master Biden. What's a black job? I just felt cringe when I heard Trump say black job. It's not a job that's color black. It's a job for black folks. Now, if a black person is said, what about the black jobs? We're trying to be specific, but meanwhile, you want to feel, oh, we all in this together. It's the colorblind world. Everybody gets the same kind of treatment. It's just, it ain't so much the race system no more. But even though Trump is the most racist thing that them people, it wasn't necessarily you had the experiences. Well, he discriminated against folks written in the 70s. It was a whole lot of them people. You hear what some of the shit Biden was saying in the 70s? Uh, he said something about the Central Park Five. Some of y'all may not have been born, but I was a teenager. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think I just graduated high school. And it wasn't just Trump that they had thinking that them boys did that shit. They had the world thinking that them boys had attacked and raped that woman. So him putting out that ad in the newspaper, that's a white man with money doing what a white man with money do, campaigning. But when you think about someone who says three strikes you're out, whether it be like 3 times getting caught with some hard, I guess you don't take much. When I say hard, I mean crack. When you get caught with just a little bit of dope, maybe 3 times, then you got a life sentence. And this is something that he was proud of putting into play. And even to the day, he said, I think if I remember correctly, he said he'd do it again. Now, mind you, this is decimated. Okay, something you might have the contrary and say, well, young nigga shouldn't do dope. Nigga get a job. They shouldn't be selling dope. That's what he got. What he got. This is what it was. All these families desecrated. Instead of putting millions, and because that's what we just wanted. That's what the black folks, because they try to say that the black preachers wanted this, but black folks just wanted some help at that time. They just wanted. They just wanted. Granny just wanted uh, her grandson and whomever else, her child or whatever, to stop motherfuckers stealing the VCR, and then other people wanted to stop the little drive-by. That's what I'm saying. The drive-by shootings, the robberies, or whatever else. That's what they was asking for. They didn't ask for severe punishment. They didn't ask the black folks didn't ask to be scrutinized and set aside as some type of bionic, animalistic threat, i.e., super predator by way of our children. So if the children are super predators in hell, look to against the adults, it's a super duper predator. All this, and they say, well, the Congressional Black Congress, the Congressional Black Congress, they say these people. They say whatever, whomever people that might be popular on Al Sharpton, whoever might be popular, Black Lives Matter, whoever might be popular on your TV, made way by the mainstream media. They'll mention whomever. But then when you say, okay, this is somebody I'm supposed to be, I guess, supposed to look up to. This is somebody that's supposed to be a de facto leader, a de facto representative of the blacks. Why is it when we say, okay, this is what we need, this is what we need to see? Just as the Congressional Black Caucus back in the 90s, we're doing this for black people. No, they were doing that for Bill Clinton, because this was a time period when Bill Clinton needed to be reelected, and shit was fucked up in the world, like it's about to be fucked up in the world once summer's just starting, and it's just chaos. Some seemingly chaos up in Chicago. When you hear about murders in Chicago, don't just think black folks is doing these murders. No, no, ma'am, no, sir. The robberies, no, ma'am, it ain't just niggas. No, ma'am, no, sir. As these people get more and more, the borders wide open, millions of people come in, and because once again, this is something that didn't occur from 2016 to 2020. Folks got mad. Oh, he being raised. You need to let everybody in. He trying to build a wall. I bet gonna be ha. He done, motherfucker. That wall was being built. And the thing about it, some people may not know the wall was still continued to being built. Biden promised. Biden said, I'm going to give you student loan debt. Biden said, we're going to defund the police. On second thought, no, we ain't going to defund the police. On second thought, you know, we're going to have to, I can't pass down student loan debt relief through Congress. Second thought, where I can give student loan debt relief to some folks, as long as you got these little hoops and things in place. And so now, okay, 2 months, I wrote this on I said 2 months ago, they were saying student debt loan forgiveness. 2 months now, I listened to the news yesterday morning. The feds have decided, well, we need to raise interest rates on student loans. So I made a sense. I said, well, 2 months ago, they were going to forgive there was debt loan forgiveness. Today, the feds announced they're raising interest rates on student loans. A little something for you, parent, and a little something for your college bound bank. They got it. They getting it back on the back end because it's a lending. And the 10,000, whatever the loan forgiveness, that ain't shit. That's interest for some for most of the other stomped down folks who needed financial aid when they went to college. I don't get it with y'all folks, man. I mean, y'all act like y'all scared. What president or not, whether any of them in there or not, you still have a valid reason to be apprehensive and be fretful and be concerned, be distressed, be nervous, be frightened, be trepidatious. But all things considered the way that things are right now. Maybe things are good. Maybe all black folks ain't doing bad, according to the eyes of some. I guess even to the eyes of the fair Democratic Party, because really all they tend to be able to offer you is entitlement programs and things of that nature. Once upon a time, I thought I used to get mad at white folks talking that shit, but then I just stood back and I started seeing shit. I started seeing what they meant by how we tend to look like we on some type of plantation dealing with them folks. You don't know nothing black more for me. You're not black. I done a lot for black people. Man, come on, man. But yeah, I'm gonna watch this debate though. But my thing is, the dumber of two evils. Y'all say, yep. There's a saying that I'm gonna vote for the lesser of two evils. Now, mind you, and I don't know how deluded you may be. Understand that Master Biden's an evil motherfucker. He's had decades of being now. Just because his the bats in his belfry and died and dry in the dust, that don't still mean that don't take away from the fact that he's been an evil motherfucker for some time. The patriot that he wanted to claim he claimed credit for the Patriot Act, where they were doing where it was legal for the government, the Homeland Security government, to spy on Americans. This man is a warmonger, an authoritarian, an altruistic fellow that gives more of a damn about people outside of his sovereignty, his nation's sovereignty, than he does care about the well-being of his citizens. Of course, this video ain't going nowhere. Of course, probably ain't even nobody still on it. But let me get mine off. I'm gonna get mine off, and this is just the start of it. They changed the rules to the debate. They said could nobody. They want to make sure it's just dudes, just the moderators and the people, because the crowd tends to distract and change viewpoints of others. Man, come on, man. Do they need to, if y'all candidates, because really y'all see what they coddling from for kind massa. If y'all candidate needs all that motherfucking help, and you see him in front of his opponent, this is somebody he competing with strong to hold his spot, hold his championship title. Can you imagine how he is in front of world leaders trying to talk about shit that should theoretically have to benefit us, but it seems on this side he looking for shit to help other motherfuckers do. But he didn't want to he didn't want to give no more stimulus, but what he did was he came up with a plan and said, well, if you don't get this shot, then y'all need to get fired. Remember when they was trying to fire, the nurses and things like that, all them first responder people that were actually in the trenches before vaccine was made. They was trying to get the end of the whatever. I done been on here long enough. I'm finna make me some breakfast. Uh y'all better love y'all social media platforms for keeping my voice quiet. I know when I'm talking to y'all, I don't sound retarded. Can y'all hear what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you're not here to ask me questions to say, well, please explain what do you mean by that, Mr. Flavor. They won't let you do that because they put them lashes on me because I was one of the Russian bots. They labeled me as a Russian bot. I went so hard against that broad, Hillary Clinton. But then it came out Russiagate was bullshit. Just like they're gonna come out, they came out with some else. The Supreme Court made a ruling. Well, the way that in regards to the hillbilly revolution, the January 6th so-called insurrection, they they about to lay out. Man, fuck, I'm done. Peace and love, man. But I'm gonna be back. You know, it ain't nothing but June. We got a lot of lecture time to talk about, but man, this is your guy. That's y'all guy, man. That's the guy y'all put y'all tying y'all horse to. Ain't nothing came good out of it. As far as I say, ain't nothing good came out of comments about being president in my eyes. Nothing. Nothing. God, I did this, I did man, nothing. Uh Niggas is hanging on. I'm spending my fun money on interest rates for credit card, just because I play with my credit a different kind of because I tend to view it as loan as borrowing money, well, loaning money to myself. So I fuck with all my cards in order to like raise my credit level up. Now during the Trump administration, that was working. I was almost at the beloved 800. Now I'm closer to 7. But I digress. Is it still blue no matter who? How come y'all ain't doing all that shit no more? What happened to all the sorority sisters hollering about Kamala and what she was going to do for the sister girls? What happened to all that shit? Even though the broad got in there and said, you think I'm do something to drive people out? And, she doesn't identify with just, okay, well, I guess maybe when it's time to play Cardi B or reminisce when she was in high school listening to Tupac, I guess that might be imperative or relative to blackness, to the culture. Peace and love. I'm out, man. Nigga Nation and that, man. Y'all go. Hey, I'm cutting y'all motherfuckers in the soup line because this shit right after this here, we going to the motherfucking soup lines. It's gonna be mass drafts. People gonna get drafted to fighting these wars and shit because this nigga is out here being a brain dead moron, and I guess he calls himself leading. Maybe Hunter need to get him a pack of that hard, a pack of ready. Maybe smoke a couple of grams. He might come out talking straight, talking right. Never mind. Peace and love, man. I'm out. Have me some breakfast.